Hi class, this is Mrs. Hoskins here, and looking at all the things we did on Friday, I just thought it'd be easy if I go ahead and do a quick video recap of what exactly we're doing this week, as I know we were missing Mrs. Canfield in June, and I thought it might be helpful for others as well to have a quick recap for what exactly are we doing this week. So starting out is, remember, Chart A, sentence classification. We want to continue really memorizing Chart A, as that is our most important chart for everywhere we're going to be studying this year. So Chart A, continue working on copying or singing or rapping to really learn Chart A. Then in class we introduced Chart C, which is verbs. I'm going to try to focus this. The verbs, maybe I go like this. Verb chart. So the main thing for first years to really work on memorizing with this chart is, maybe you will not memorize this whole chart, but starting with the definition of a verb. We have a song for that. A verb is a word that asserts an action, shows a state of being, links two words together, or helps another verb. A verb is a word that asserts an action, shows a state of being, links two words together, or helps another verb. So if we can really work on just memorizing the full definition of a verb, and then however much you can memorize if you're a first year, the 4 verb types. Intransitive does not transfer the action from the subject to an object. Transitive does transfer the action. A linking, we made our little hands like a linking chains, makes an assertion by joining 2 words. And a helping verb, we lifted out our hands to help another verb. It helps another verb, so there's always going to be 2 when you have helping verbs. And then the chart goes on so forth. So as much as you can get to would be great. First years really focus on the definition, and the 4 types are super important. As we're going to start diagramming sentences, those will come in really handy. So chart C, and then we also went over chart D. So when you look at chart D, you're going to ignore this Q right here. That comes much later. That's called verbals. We're going to ignore the verbals and just focus on chart D. Principal parts of verbs: infinitive, present, past, present participle, past participle, verb, principal parts. There's another song for you for this part. And then all the rest of this chart is the irregular verbs. They just have to be memorized. So all verbs will follow these rules up here, okay? But all the irregular verbs, they break the rules, they just have to be memorized. And that was something we memorized in Foundations last cycle. But it is good to at least start recognizing the irregular verbs, so spend a little time comparing regular verbs with irregular verbs. What's the difference? And as much as you can, start becoming really familiar with those. It will be helpful to be able to recognize them. So that's the verbs, and it was really a huge overview. And then as weeks go, we will be breaking it down as we go. I printed this out, and I will email it to you if you do not have it, because someone created this one on CC Connected, and they added the actual linking verbs list here and the helping verbs here. On the regular chart, they were missing. So that's helpful. And then I reminded you guys, I highlighted the headings because this chart was confusing to look at it first. So what are the 4 attributes? You know, with singular and plural here, that was confusing to me. So I just needed to put the 4 attributes all in one color: number, person, voice, mood. So that, I'm visual. If you're visual, you might want to highlight in different colors too. And then when we get to the 12 tenses, you have your times in one color and your forms in one color, and that's how we get our 12 tenses. 3 times multiplied by 4 forms gives us our 12 tenses. So I just recommend highlighting so you can really see what you're looking at. Then I have a couple more songs that are helpful for memorizing. Well, what are the helping verbs? This is the Mary Poppins song. A helping verb helps another verb assert action, being, or existence. Do, does, did, has, have, had, may, must, might, should, could, would, shall, will, can. That's a helping verb. And then linking verbs. To the ants go marching, because ants are linking around together. A linking verb makes an assertion by joining two words. A linking verb makes an assertion by joining two words. Feel, become, remain, taste, seem, appear, look, sound, stay, smell, grow. Am, are, is, was, were, be, being, been. So those are two songs that can help you memorize your helping verbs and your linking verbs, remembering that the form of to be can be either one, and we'll study how you know in weeks to come. But memorizing those can be very, very helpful. Linking verbs, helping verbs. And then we get to our IEW. So this week's lesson is on page 34. We read the Roman aqueducts, and you notice it's 2 paragraphs. So the assignment for this week is to do a 2-paragraph keyword outline, and then working with your mom, writing from your outline a 2-paragraph paper. But moms, remember, wherever your student is at, do what is easy for you guys working together. So if that's sticking with 1 paragraph, you may do that. If you're ready for 2, then you may do that. So what does it look like? This is just an example. Remember, this is not an answer key. Your symbols and numbers and abbreviations may look different than the person next to you. But just remembering you have a Roman numeral 1 and list out how many points you need for that paragraph. And then Roman numeral 2 for your second paragraph, and it will look something like this. The stylistic technique, well, before I get to stylistic technique, we did our structure that we learned in addition to keyword outline this week was something called a title clincher. Where do we get our title from? There's a rule for that, and it is that we take the last 2 to 3 words from the very last sentence of your writing. So if we're doing this one, we'll look at the very last sentence, and we want to highlight 2 to 3 main words that should be used to create then our title. And that's how we're going to get our title. So the title clincher rule, taking 2 to 3 words to form our title. So your title should be the last thing you write when you're writing your paper. The other, okay, so now the stylistic techniques, we know to add an ly adverb to each paragraph, and then we want to try to insert a vocab word where we can. And our vocab words were up, you should have all the ones up to also doing lesson 4. So lessons 1 through 4, vocab words you can work on, play some games with those. And the other dress up we did in class, introduced, was a who which clause. There is a page in here, I think it's page, 37, tells you all about a who which clause dress up. If you like more detail, but basically the who you use when you're talking about a person to give more information about them. Like an example would be Mr. Hoskins, who was born in Michigan, knew a lot about farming. So the who is telling us a little bit more about a person. We use the which when we're talking about things. My spaghetti, which was cold, needed to be reheated. So playing with a who which clause, trying to add one of those to each paragraph is fun. And this gives you more information on that page 37 on a who which clause. So those were our new stylistic techniques we learned, but remember all of these things that each week we add a new thing, a stylistic technique and a dress up, but whatever is easy plus 1. So what is easy for your student and you to do, you may stick with that for a couple weeks if you are not ready to move on to the next tasks that we added. The important thing is that you just spend some time introducing it and learning about it. So it's wherever your student is at. I hope that's encouraging. Please please reach out to me if you need any help understanding this week's assignments. And if you need ideas on how to scale back or have any questions or any frustrations at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Hope you all have a blessed week in the Lord and do all things to Him, but also walk in His grace. Amen. Okay, bye-bye.